better for the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. They locked down their future in Patty Mahomes.
You got Jones, then Kelsey, and Mahomes signed for like half a billion. You got players on your football team buying baseball team.
I'm surrounded by baby toys. Like Patrick Mahomes is surrounded by guys who on offense are some of the best in the league.
Oh no, let the defense go. Let the defense go.
If Patty does what he does, and he has one less guy on offense.
In Kansas City, I thank you.
Welcome in, everybody, to another weekly wind-up where we're going to be talking some SportsMe. We're going to be talking about some of the awesome things going on in the SportsMe. I am Derek, and I am joined by the one, the only, the Rum Boys. Robbie, how you doing today?
What's going on, bro? What's going on? I just went ahead and tweeted out our show. So, y'all get it up in here, spike that like button, subscribe to the channel, and most of all, download the SportsMe app.
Absolutely. Make sure that it's a good time. It's a great time, as a matter of fact, hopping in there and sharing your takes, sharing your opinions with other folks, listening to some other folks go out there and talking about the world of sports and engaging in some of the debates and some of the conversations out there. It is an absolute blast. And if you're not already in there, you're just plain missing out. I'm sorry. Like there's no two ways around it. You're missing out.
Exactly. Like, with it being the holiday season and such, there's no better gift that you can give yourself than a free download of the SportsMe app to interact with sports fans alike yourself across your favorite leagues, your favorite teams, so on and so forth. Interact with a couple of different major sports analysts, seamlessly make content with each other. It's really dope. Really dope. You never know who you're going to see on the SportsMe app. Maybe a couple of athletes. So, it's really dope. It's really dope. Gift yourself with the SportsMe app download. Absolutely.
And we've seen some athletes in there over the last couple of weeks here, right? Like we've seen Dalton Crossan in there. We've seen Andrew Wiley in there. So you've got some players in there. You've got some folks that you may see on television and hear on the radio in there. As well lately, that there's a lot of just really, really cool things going on there. So again, if you're not in there, then it's a really fun, interactive way where you can hop in there and you can actually interact with some of these folks and you can give your takes and, they'll respond. They've responded to folks back on that. So, a much more face-to-face kind of environment than, any other social media type of thing out there. So if you haven't downloaded it, you're missing out. Google Play Store, Apple App Store, get sportsme.com. Make it happen. You're missing out if you don't. But so, Robbie, we've got, like I said, we got lots of things that have been going on here and rocking and rolling over there. First of all, I do love it every time I see HoofTube in the comments on just about anything there, right? He's saying woohoo, and then you also handsome. Do you moisturize? This is just natural. This is a natural.
I just got done actually, literally, this is actually a funny comment because I have a real life literal answer. I just showered, just did the whole face treatment, so yeah, I'm still rocking freaking November's Movember look. I need to shave, but yeah, I do.
Alrighty, so always an interesting time, and I very much appreciate Hoove right off the bat hitting us with a curveball there. Always lots of fun there. So that is just plain awesome. Thanks, Hoove, and appreciate you chiming in and tuning in. So yeah, Robbie, let's go ahead and let's start talking about some of these videos that we've been looking at and we've been dealing with on the app and some of the things that we've seen on there, right? Like there's all sorts of a range of topics here, but right now, a lot of it is very centered around football because that's,
it's December.
It's December. It is go time. We're in the final push for a lot of teams. College football is making a big push there as well, right? Like they just got done with, in-season play, and now we're looking towards conference championship games. And, that's where we're going to kind of head here is, as we start looking ahead towards college championship games for conference play, that has huge ramifications and huge implications as far as the college football playoff is concerned. And so some of the folks over at BetQL stopped by the app to ask some questions and give some takes as far as who they think is should make it into the college football playoff. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video.
This is Ryan Horvat from BetMGM. Tonight, we look forward to the final weekend of the regular season in college football. I'm here to make the case that Cincinnati does belong in the college football playoff. They've won all 11 games this season.
I do think that Cincinnati deserves a chance, and I think that they should get in. I don't think that they are one of the top 4 teams in the country.
I thought it was supposed to be the 4 best teams.
If you're saying it should be the 4 best teams based on what you think, you can start the playoffs in August.
I mean, every once in a while, you have to at least pretend the whole system's not a farce.
Stop lying to them if you're not going to let them in. Just tell them that you can't make it.
I don't think we can just put somebody into the championship because the best team they beat is Notre Dame.
And there's not many other teams out there that I think deserve a spot over them at this point in time either.
Both very compelling arguments on both sides of that. I agree with like the best team that you beat, be it Notre Dame. I personally, I think that a lot of this has to do with, oh shit, we get to see someone new, we get to see something different, and people want to see something new. Some people want to see something different. People are tired of always seeing the Ohio's, the Alabamas, so on and so forth. You got Georgia and Michigan right up there at 1 and 2, and then Cincinnati, Alabama. I'm going to kind of go on the side of, give me something new, give me something different. Give me Cincinnati. I want Cincinnati in the top. And an 11-1 record is still an 11-1 record. College is a little bit different because you could play some no-name school, like majority of your schedule, and maybe only have 1 or 2 really competitive games, and that could speak volumes to the committee, depending on who you beat and depending on how you fare in those matchups. For ratings purposes, for marketing purposes, put Cincinnati in there. Give us something different. Put Cincinnati on the map. I think that it could do college football some good.
You actually said some very interesting words there when you said, about the ratings for it. And really, that's the thing that, as far as I kind of look at this, that's the thing that people tend to forget about what this process is this process is as much of putting together a compelling television program as it is about necessarily putting the 4 best teams in there, to the point where, we've seen it before where all of a sudden a team will make a jump over, 2-3 spots to get in the last spot into that, on a team that was idle and didn't play, but yet they ended up missing out on the tournament because of a team that went out there and won a conference championship type of thing there that didn't that before that win wasn't in the conversation there. So there's lots of things there. And what'll be interesting to see is you have Oklahoma State and Baylor playing this week for the Big 12 title, right? Oklahoma State loses that one. Now it's a free-for-all type of thing there as far as that one goes, right? You got some of these other conferences. If Alabama goes out and beats Georgia, there's 2 SEC teams getting into this playoff there. Yep. If Iowa beats Michigan, there's probably a Big 10 team not in. There's probably the Pac-12. I don't see is going to have a team representative, and the Big 12 probably doesn't have a team represented. So, what does that lead to? Is that where we see a Notre Dame and a Cincinnati make their way in type of thing with 2 SEC schools? It could happen. It could be an interesting thing there, but there's still a lot to play out on this one. But
there's a lot to play out.
But when it's all said and done, I don't necessarily see Cincinnati as they sit right now as one of the best 4 teams in the nation. I think they played and the schedule is what it is, right? You have to play your conference games. You can go out there and schedule outside of conference a little bit here and there. But when your best win is at Notre Dame and Notre Dame's head coach decided that LSU was a brighter opportunity than staying with Notre Dame this week alone. So there's some things that can be said there, right? Like you think about that from the standpoint that we just gave a scenario where Notre Dame could make their way into the playoff, and the coach was still like, I'm heading to the SEC and I'm heading to LSU.
Yeah, which we will talk about later on.
Absolutely. Let's see here. We got a couple of comments coming in there. Robbie, apparently this is a programming notice for you. Yeah. Need more of me on the Rum Boys, apparently, after dark program. And then AP just got signed to the Seahawks.
Yep,
there.
signed to their practice squad.
Absolutely. So Seattle making some moves there. I don't know that it's enough to,
It's
make
nothing.
anything happen there,
Nothing.
but no. But hey, let's talk about some football, and let's talk about, if we're talking Seattle, that's in the NFC there. Let's go ahead and talk about another NFC team.
I'm Joe Gilio of BetQL Daily with a prop you should jump on right now. The Green Bay Packers at plus 350 on FanDuel Sportsbook. They have the best record in the NFL.
9-0. After a loss, they bounce back gorgeously.
I think it could be Bucks Packers 1-2.
This question makes me wonder what the line would have been preseason for this bet, because I predicted the Packers to finish with the best regular season record in the NFL.
I think the Packers definitely end up losing one or two of the games they do have remaining, though.
Expect the Buccaneers to finish with the best record this year.
Are the Packers the best team in the NFC? And I think they are the best team.
Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they are just regular season warriors.
No matter what, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man.
But I think they win at least 4, if not all 5 of the remaining games.
Hammer Green Bay.
I can just victory lap on social media.
I always enjoy seeing Bo on these takes and going through that, because every time he gives me a one-liner that just makes me crack up there. But a lot of folks thinking that Green Bay can pull off the best record in the NFL in these next 5-6 weeks here. What are your thoughts?
You never really want to bet against that bad man, Aaron Rodgers. But when you look at Arizona having to take on the Bears, the Rams, Lions, Colts, Dallas, and then Seattle, I mean, really, it's the Rams and Colts that are the tough ones there. They'll probably win those other games. I mean, and then the Rams, Cowboy, or the Rams, Colts are kind of toss ups. They have the Colts on Christmas Day, actually, which is crazy because we're watching basketball on Christmas Day, but we're going to get some NFL Christmas Day this year.
We all remember Alvin Kamara last year Christmas Day.
Yeah, gifting out touchdowns.
You get a touchdown and you get a touchdown. Happy Fantasy Manager Day.
Exactly. But no, I really like what Kyler and the Cards are doing. But at the end of the day, it's the Arizona Cardinals. Like, Aaron Rodgers has been doing this shit for so long. He's just been playing the game at such a high level for so long. He has the Bears, the Ravens, the Browns, the Vikings, the Lions. They will win out all of those. Like it is. Where do you get the upset? I mean, maybe the Vikings, but the Vikings always come up, just a dollar short. A day late, a dollar short every fourth quarter. The Ravens could give them a run for their money, but the Ravens also play in a lot of close games as well. They just get lucky in pulling those out. It's tough for both of these teams, but if I had to pick one, I'm probably going to side with the Green Bay Packers.
Interesting. I actually probably lean the other way, where the fact that you have Arizona right now with a game up on the Green Bay Packers, right? When it's all said and done, they're already a game ahead on them. They hold the tiebreaker in the head-to-head matchup there. So it's actually a game and a half when it's all said and done. So Green Bay has to pick up 2 games on Arizona with only 5 left to play. That's a tall task to go out there to do, right? Like, you're talking about Arizona having to drop at least 2 of their, minimum 2 of their next 5. And they've been winning with Colt McCoy back there at quarterback. And Kyler's supposed to come back, right? Like, one of those that they purposely held Kyler out probably longer than he probably could have gone to make sure that he was healthy for this stretch, for this part of the season, to make a run at playoffs. Same thing with DeAndre Hopkins, right? We've seen Nuke Hopkins go out there and play banged up and played injured before and still put up numbers, still be relevant there, and they've held him out as well. He looks to come back on this one as well. Arizona's defense has been pretty good all season long, and that offense just got a major surge and a major jolt with the probably one of the best young quarterbacks in the league coming back, and arguably the best wide receiver coming back in the league. And you get both of those guys into a playmaking dynamic offense that Cliff Kingsbury loves to move the ball around with. That's a tough way to try and do, right? Like, I don't know that I'm going to bet on Arizona to lose at least 2 of 3 2 of 5 over this next stretch of games, and Green Bay have to win out, because that's what has to happen for them to move ahead of the Arizona Cardinals on this one.
Hey, I like it. I like that take. Kyler is a friend of the Rum Boys, so I'm always gonna support him and cheer him on. So I hope that what you said happens. That'd be dope. But of course,
Boomer Sooner. That's where we're at with Kyler, right? That's my team. That's who I root for. And Kyler winning the Heisman there. So absolutely, I'm gonna be rooting for Kyler.
See, for you, it's a Sooner thing. It's just tough, having to battle it out. Like, and also it's not about the best records, about what you do in the playoffs. I think that if Arizona, maybe even that last game or those last 2 games, they start, sitting guys, getting ready for playoffs. So I mean, anything can happen down the stretch. Somebody mentioned the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have the Falcons, the Bills, the Saints, the Panthers, the Jets, and the Panthers. They have a pretty laxed schedule down the stretch. But I also
and that
don't think
defense is getting healthy too.
Yeah, that defense is getting healthy. But I don't
Patriots
think
are another
enough.
scary one that's just been a hot team lately and has a schedule that they could finish out and make a run there as well. They've got an even taller task though, because they're a game behind Green Bay to try and get there. But yeah, there's some teams out there that could make some runs here and make some things happen, and it would make for a very, very interesting 6 weeks of the season left here.
Absolutely.
HoopTube saying that if the Cardinals can be a first seed with Colt McCoy, there's no reason to believe they could have built around
Rosen.
Maybe. I mean, there was Rosen doesn't fit Cliff Kingsbury's system, right? And Colt McCoy can fit it for a moment, but you look at it from the standpoint of what those 2 guys did in college. Colt McCoy ran a similar system to what Texas A&M kind of did when he was at Texas.
Colt McCoy could have been nasty.
Mm-hmm.
He could, if it wasn't for them injuries, he could have been nasty.
Yep. That was again going back to the Sooners. Those are always when Colt McCoy was under center for the Texans. Those were always games that I was concerned about, that whether or not we would be able to pull out there, because he's especially in college, like he was a bad dude and managed to just win games. Josh Rosen, on the other hand, UCLA never rose to any sort of prominence there. Never really put together too many.
He had too much. He also had too much of a chip on his shoulder. There was disciplinary, or not. I wouldn't necessarily call them disciplinary issues. He just has a mouth on him. And you can't you can't really deal with a guy who feels like he knows everything. He is everything. He thought that he was the answer before even being battle tested. You just can't deal with that level of arrogance. Dwayne Haskins had that arrogance level with him too. And I remember even getting done an interview and I was like, yo, this dude is super arrogant. I think his NFL career is going to be fucking dog shit. And then it was.
And then you've got HoofTube ask. This is a question for you, Washington football fan. Didn't Washington have RG3, Kirk Cousins, and Colt McCoy at one point?
Correct. We did. And 2 of them ended up fucking injury prone.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy and RG3. RG3's getting ready to write a tell-all book, by the way.
There you go.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be pretty scandalous, but get your money, RG3.
There we go. So, I just got done talking about my Sooner fandom here, and that weighs a little heavy on this next topic for me, where it was a daily cash game topic, which again, right, like one of the things that we talked all about, the amazing personalities that you can connect with, things like that on the SportsMe app. You can also win money by simply giving your take, because your take is your buy-in with the daily cash game. So let's go ahead and hit up one of the daily cash game topics. Today's daily cash game centered around college football. And no, it's not college football playoff talk. It has been announced that Lincoln Riley is leaving Oklahoma to head to USC. Lots to unpack here. Some of the biggest questions are, how does Lincoln Riley fare with USC? How do they do this next year? And who does Oklahoma get to replace him as their head coach? Hit us up. Let us know.
This is a slam dunk hire by the USC Trojans. I hate to see it because I hate the Trojans. I hope they lose all their games, but I'm afraid that Lincoln Riley is the perfect pick to lead that program back into relevance, back into championship form. One of the best offensive minds in college football. He's going to have free reign at all that talent in Southern California. It's going to be scary, and it's going to be scary quick. Josh Heupel probably in Oklahoma.
Well, it's a great move by both Lincoln Riley and USC because USC is the perfect place for a guy like Riley who loves the quarterbacks. USC obviously used to be known as quarterback central, so Riley will fare great there, especially with the recruiting base. No question about that, and he'll be competing for national championships, whereas it may have been harder with Oklahoma in the SEC. As for coaching hires, I say Bob or Mark Stoops. Try to get Bob back, and if that doesn't work, try to get Mark. One of those two. Those would be my go-tos.
No, it doesn't even matter how good he is because they're not in the SEC. This team is not going to beat a lot of the best teams in the country, and that's a fact. What this dude's contract, he just whooped on USC in terms of negotiations. Have you seen a $6 million house? They're buying both of his homes in Norman for $500,000 over the asking price. And private use of the private plane. Oh my God. Better than Bill Belichick.
Well, Lincoln Riley is afraid of the SEC, which is why he got out while he could. Now, I saw this too late, but it's rumored that they are going to hire Brent Venables, which would be a perfect hire for Oklahoma, because Brent Venables is a defensive guy. Oklahoma is not known for defense. Plus, it was only a matter of time until Venables got a head coaching job.
I love those clips.
An absolute ton to unpack there. I'll let you start.
All right. $110 million. USC buying both of his homes in Norman for $500K over the asking price. Okay, $100 million bonus. All right. Buying a $6 million in home in LA for him, and unlimited use of the private jet 24/7 access. The contract is absolutely bananas. But can we discuss the private jet part really quick? You are a college. Why the fuck do you have a private jet? You are a school.
Well, they're a private school.
Yeah, right. This is a lot. He needs to bring USC. It's literally national championship or bust for USC over the next couple of years. Like, it's purely championship or bust. He's already getting players to begin committing to USC. Get ready for those days where the Trojans had Matt Leinart, Dwayne Jarrett, Reggie Bush, like all these freaking crazy prospects back in like the early 2000s. Get ready for that old school Trojans type of football to come back. It's been a long time since the Trojans have been at the top of the college football rankings.
20-ish years.
Almost damn near 20-ish years. It's going to be very interesting to see how things unfold with that program. I think that Oklahoma is not going to be as bad off as many think because they're still Oklahoma. You know, it's still Boomer Sooner. It's still that legacy. Lincoln Riley is not necessarily what's going to attract a player for going to Oklahoma. It's going to be the fact that you're playing underneath, you know, the likes of an AP, or you're filling the shoes of like an AP or a Kyler or whatever the case may be. So I don't think that everyone's worrying about they're not going to be able to get the same talent. They're not going to be able to get the same recruits. I actually beg to differ. I think that Oklahoma will always be relevant. I don't think that this hurts them as bad as everyone makes it seem. College football is a big, I guess we could say like league. You know, it's a big landscape. You know, the next Lincoln Riley will come. Maybe a while. I think someone mentioned Stoops. You know, maybe bring him back. It'll be a while, but I think the Oklahoma on their side of things is okay.
Yeah. I mean, Lincoln Riley was with the program only 7 years, and Oklahoma has a storied tradition long before Lincoln Riley ever arrived in Norman, and put up all of their national championships that they have before Lincoln Riley was ever in the mix there. Lincoln Riley, you got to give it to him. He is probably one of the most brilliant offensive minds out there. But there's also one of these things that at a point in time, when is it going to kind of catch up, because of the fact that you're the quarterback's coach, you're the offensive coordinator, you're the head coach there. And, maybe giving up some of those duties to somewhere else allows you to do more head coaching type of things, which, head coaching, you then are holding your defensive coordinators accountable and your defensive coaches accountable, to the point where you are able to go out there and put up defenses that are able to keep you in games, instead of being like what we've seen with him at the helm in Oklahoma, where they go out and they put up massive, fireworks, show-stopping offensive numbers, and then still lose when they come up against teams that have legitimate defenses there. So there's a lot to be said there. There's a lot to unpack there. And I think you're right? There is more talent that comes out of the college football, or in the college football landscape. There's more talent that comes out of Texas than there is that comes out of California. That's what the recruiting numbers say, right? Like, they're close. Both of them have exceptional talent that come out of there, but Texas has more recruits that come out of it to go on to play D1 football than what California does. Plus, oh, by the way, when Oklahoma makes this move to the SEC, you now also help unlock players from Florida more so, and players from Georgia, which the Florida-Georgia area is producing some of the most talented players for college football that we've seen, right?
Over half of the Baltimore Ravens are all from Florida.
Yeah, it's insane, the amount of talent coming out of Florida, coming out of Georgia. And you think back to those Miami Dynasty teams that were out there. What do? They locked down the south part of Florida, and they made it where if a recruit played there, they went to Miami, and that made them successful. That's the type of caliber and that type of talent that you can get, being in that part of it. And you've got great pipelines there, right? Lincoln Riley making that move makes sense to me from the standpoint that the Pac-12 doesn't play much in the way of defense there. So you get to go out there, you get to play offense. The Pac-12, you really have to beat 2, maybe 3 teams that are going to be tough matchups on your schedule every single year. The rest of it, not so much, right? Some team may put up a week on you and make it a closer game than it necessarily does, but it mirrors the Big 12 in a lot of different ways there. So that move, it makes sense for me from that aspect. Whereas with him going to the SEC, you've got to play defense. The offense is a completely different landscape than it was 10 years ago in the SEC. So you got to play both sides of the ball there, and you've got to go out there and actually compete there, and to the point where you're going to have a tougher road there.
Yeah, you have to win in the SEC. Like fans expect you to win in the SEC.
Right. But how many big time splashy hires has USC made since you saw the departure of Carroll?
Not many.
Yeah, I mean, they went out and they got Lane Kiffin. They brought back Lane Kiffin to do it. I know that Ed Orgeron was there for a minute. You saw some of these other things there, and they have yet to be able to recapture that. So one of the other things too that is a question mark for me in the Lincoln Riley, or as far as Lincoln Riley is concerned, is with Oklahoma, he didn't have to build a program up. The talent was already there. It was a very smooth transition.
Talent wants to go and play there.
Right.
The kids that want to go and play at USC are California kids.
Right.
Like, you're not getting freaking the number one linebacker out of the state of Virginia wanting to go to USC. Like, no, that dude is trying to go to freaking Alabama. Like that's not like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so for us to think that what this does for USC, yeah, you're going to get more televised games.
Yep, and it's a splashy hire, right? It puts you back in the news cycle, makes you relevant again, things like that.
It's business. It's really just business. Like, I don't think that this team is to say the Trojans return back to the Kings of California is a leap for me, because it's been so long since they've been relevant.
Yep.
Like Keyshawn Johnson's happy, I'm sure.
Yeah. I just don't see them returning to national championship form. They may make the playoffs again, but it'll be I see it being a first round exit again, because unless they can figure out that defensive side of the ball, they're going to get similar results, just in a different way, just at a different place. So
it's fucking USC that we're talking about. Come on, like, I'm not about to hype up USC off of a coaching hire. You still got to get the players on the field to do the job. I get Malachi Nelson was like their second highest recruits ever since like the year 2000 is like he's committing there. Like I get it, it's already starting to have like a bit of an impact, but I don't know. It's too fast, too soon. Too fast, too soon.
All right, Robbie, we did have a question come in for you from the Hoove Tube asking, how hard is it to be a Washington fan, Robbie, with all the backlash?
You know what? I have mowed this over day after day. Especially since RG3's like been talking about writing this tell-all book. Look, we were a shit organization, okay? I am a fan of the team and the players. I don't like anything that this organization has done. We need to get rid of Schneider. Schneider is a POS and he's to not be an NFL owner. He should not be allowed around an NFL team. But, the downside of being a fan of an NFL team is that your team is owned by a rich billionaire. Rich billionaires do stupid crap and get away with, rich billionaire crap. And in return, it's like you're not supporting the rich billionaire. You're supporting the team that supports your area, where you're from. So Washington all the way. Dan Schneider, ill. Just a ill individual, and just the things that he's done with the organization, and just how he's spoiled and tarnished what it means to wear burgundy and gold. Is that's the part that's tough. But I still support the team whenever we get out there and we play.
All righty, let's go ahead and we had another BetQL question that we're gonna hit up here, and that is
I don't care what happened on Sunday. The Colts are still going to the playoffs, and they're winning the division. They're winning the AFC South. I'm so confident. I have them at plus 800, and I've had it for a couple of weeks now. This team is going to the playoffs.
I think that they are a force to be reckoned with. I think they can make a run at it. I think they win the division.
Now, hold on 1 second. I don't think the Colts are that good.
The Titans' path to winning the division is a lot clearer than the Colts.
It's definitely going to be a really tight division.
Colts are trending upwards, and you just lost your top 3 offensive players.
Jonathan Taylor has been an absolute monster.
Well, obviously they're going to win the South. It's the worst division in football.
Colts are on fire. Colts still have Cardinals, Patriots, and Raiders left to play. 3 tough games.
I don't think the Colts are going to have any chance against the Patriots.
100% the Colts are going to make the playoffs.
Look, I'm going to keep it 100. The Colts are nasty right now. Like, they are nasty right now. And they gotta freaking play Houston this week. That's a gimme win. I really thought, I wholeheartedly thought that they could have beaten Tampa Bay last week, and they almost did. It is their fault that they let off the gas, did defensively. But Texans, Patriots, Cardinals, Raiders, Jags, you could win that out. You could. I mean, maybe not the Cardinals. The Raiders are always going to give you a run for their money, but the Raiders have kind of now been figured out. Now that it's okay, well, you don't have your stud deep threat, no longer due to unfortunate circumstances. I think you can kind of play the Raiders kind of close. This Colts team is really good. Really, really freaking good. Carson Wentz, for all of the "you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan" jokes that I made, hey, at 2,790 yards, he's looking good. Jonathan Taylor, that Jonathan Taylor, the fact that he can take over a game by him damn self in a very Derrick Henry-esque fashion at 1,205 rushing yards this season, I am all the way in on this team down the stretch. When you have game makers like that can that can be game changers, it gets scary. It gets scary.
Right. The problem that I see with this one though, right, is there's 5 games remaining for both of these teams, right? Tennessee's on bye this week.
Yep.
Indianapolis is on bye in week 14. So when it's all said and done, keep in mind the Titans have a 2-game lead on the Colts as it sits now, and they won both head to head. So they've got the tiebreaker there. So it's a 2.5 game lead with 5 left to play. So you're talking about the fact that the Titans are going to have to lose at least 3 of those games for
They could
them
lose to the Steelers, so they'll beat the Jags coming off the bye. They could lose to the Steelers, they could lose to the Niners, and they could lose to the Dolphins.
Right, could, but they and they really could lose to any one of those teams because they haven't necessarily they've played to the level of their competition a lot this year. So I mean it could happen, right? You're talking a team that's been 8-4 on the season, dealing with injuries. I get all of that, but you're talking about them dropping 3 of 5 in the next little bit, right? Could happen. They've got a schedule that would lead to it. But then you're also talking about the Colts having, in that scenario, the Colts have to win out. And that could happen as well. But the Colts have to go in or they have to play Arizona. Arizona is probably the best team in football this season. And they get Kyler back. They get Nuke Hopkins back. I don't know that you're going to be able to win that game against Arizona. Okay. They got another tough matchup with the Patriots later this season as well. What does Bill Belichick do better than any head coach and any coaching mind in the NFL? He takes away your number one option. Like he finds a way to game scheme them out and game script them out to the point where, Jonathan Taylor may still put up 80, 90 yards rushing on that one, but
Matt Judon's going to be on that ass though.
Yeah, to the point where are they able to get by the Patriots? That's going to be a really, really tough ask there as well. So if you're going in the scenario where they lose either one of those 2 games, you're talking about the Titans having to drop 4 of 5 going down the stretch here in order for the Colts to win that division. And I just don't necessarily see that one happening. Kind of walking through that one and giving some of those reasons there. Could it happen? Sure. Am I optimistic that it happens? No. So, any other thoughts on that one?
No.
All righty. So, we talked a lot about the, a lot of news breaking as far as, MLB is concerned with a lot of big contracts having been signed recently, right? Like we talked about, some of the departure news where coaches are heading to new locations. We're talking about players entering the transfer portal and transferring schools there as well. And the only reason that the NBA, I'm sure, wasn't brought up in here is because there's not that kind of stuff going on here when you're in season. But one of the biggest things that we asked as far as a daily cash game there is, is there such a thing as like a hometown discount? Are players hired guns? Let's go ahead and head to the video. Is there such a thing as a hometown discount anymore? Are players just hired guns? Hit us up. Let us know your thoughts. Does it change a player's legacy when they change teams on these massive deals?
I think a hometown discount is a thing of the past for younger players. The point is for them to get as much money as they can while they're still healthy and in the primes of their career. So I don't think taking a massive contract really hurts a person's legacy. It might just contribute to it.
I mean, I think there's something honorable to say about someone that'll stay with one team for, their career.
I think that you can leave and your legacy won't be tarnished. If you do stay, the home team will love you, but can't blame a guy for wanting to get the bag.
We're going to humanize players. If you get a job out of college, and it's your dream job, but it's at a really bad company, do you stay for 40 years and you're happy? Or when a better opportunity comes and you can really live out your dream, do you leave?
Yeah, I just don't think it's a mainstream thing anymore.
I will say that the hometown discount will be dead if Freddie Freeman leaves the Braves for more money in free agency. Then yes, every professional athlete is a hired gun, and they should be. They should chase as much money and fame as they could possibly pack into their short career, because after the sport is over, hopefully they have a better outlook. Get the fucking bag.
So get that bag. What are your thoughts here?
You want to get the bag. Like we're in an era now, and we have to blame the previous generation for this, okay? You would be able to be the hometown hero at a decent rate if the economy wasn't so screwed the way that it is now. But because of, the way that inflation and things like this work and how much more expensive just living is at this point, you got to go get the bag, especially when your job is to go out and play a sport where one injury could potentially just end your whole career. Hell, if you're in a sport where, I don't know, you could possibly die, like boxing, MMA, NASCAR. Like, I don't mean NASCAR may or may not be a sport depending on who you are, because it's just a bunch of left turns, but there's G-forces, centrifugal force, and all this stuff, science that kind of makes it a sport. If
The
you are
reaction time on that, everybody that thinks they can get in the car and just go.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not. There's a lot of skill and a lot of reaction time that,
No.
yes. So
Yeah, exactly.
For this purpose, we'll say it's a sport.
It's a sport. Yeah, like if you are in any of those like super hazardous type of things, the X Games, you're going up a half pipe and, you just fall off your board or whatever. Like, get the bag. Like, I don't care if you are an athlete, if you are a entertainer, you have made it doing what you love. And then not only you made it doing what you love, but you can be paid as the elite of the elite while doing that. This is our fault for making currency a thing. We've made, since the beginning of time, we've placed value on, placed monetary value on things. So now that and being that we've done that, we've created this culture, and we have a culture where how many times have you gone on Instagram and you see someone like, yeah, my brand new Lamborghini, like they're flexing, like we've done this. So we can't be mad. Like not everyone's gonna do the Michael Jordan. Not everyone's gonna do the Kobe. Those times are dead. You're lucky that Damian Lillard is a prime example of someone who really ticks me off with this. Because it's like, bro, go get a ring. You're not ever gonna get a ring in Portland. Go get a ring. Like for the longest time, Freddie Freeman was one of those, but they ended up getting one.
But you're also talking about two different things there, right? Like if you're talking about getting the bag versus getting the ring, sometimes those are mutually exclusive to the point where you'll see players go out there and get the ring and then they go and try and get the bag, right? And the NBA sets this up probably a better argument for that than anywhere else because of the fact that if a player stays with the team, they can sign the supermax contract, which gets you more years and more money than if you go somewhere else to it. But we see constantly these players that will leave to go get the ring and go create these super teams and go create these types of things there. So I think there's two different things at play ultimately there, right? Like one is if you're leaving somewhere to go get a ring, right? But you're taking less money to do it. Does that affect the legacy? And I think it probably does there a little bit, especially in the short term there, right? Long term, people. It's amazing how many people forget that Michael Jordan played 2 seasons with the Washington Wizards, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't remember that. And again, necessarily, he wasn't necessarily ring chasing, things like that. There were other things that play there.
He just wanted to keep playing the game. Yeah.
Right. So that kind of stuff too, right?
But
and
the Bulls wanted to blow that up. The Bulls wanted to blow that. They were like, yo, like, you're old. You've done it for us. Like,
right.
And Jerry Krause, fuck him.
Same thing too when you look at the NFL, right? Like how many people realize that Joe Namath played on another team other than the Jets, right? Like that's where people remember him from. Same thing with a lot of these, Joe Montana, right? Like when everybody thinks Joe Montana,
they think Niners, they don't think Chiefs.
Right. And he took the Chiefs to an AFC championship game, if memory serves right.
Correct.
Like, so one of those things that, there's a point in time where it can affect legacy, cannot affect legacy, things like that. When it's ultimately said and done, I think if you're chasing it for a ring, people will remember that you got a ring and not necessarily remember some of the inner workings that went along to go get that type of thing. But again, one of those that if you're going out there and you're making the best decisions for your family, financially, some of that kind of stuff, you can't blame a player for wanting to go out there and doing what's best for them. Again, one of those that it's their life and they get to choose how they want to live it and how they want to go about doing that kind of stuff. So whether, whatever's more important to them, whether it's a ring and a championship, or it's, getting the bigger paychecks, all of those things, or it could be in the case where some of these guys, you see, they want to move into a specific city. They want to go live there.
Yeah.
I remember that a few years back with when Carmelo Anthony was here in Denver, right? Wanted to go to New York because that's where he was from. That's where he wanted to get back closer to family, a lot of that kind of stuff. And if you're that fan of that team that they're leaving, does it stink? Sure. But if they're making if they're making the best decision for them and their family, you certainly can't fault them for that.
I mean, you have some players that they're like, I want to play for this team, but I want my bag. Dak, prime example. He wanted to be a Cowboy,
right?
But he wanted his paper. And I think that there's also a way that there can be a happy median too. But we also have to look at how that hurts a team too, especially like in a sport like football, where it's like, you just took all the money. Now we can't pay anyone else.
Right. The leagues that have very hard caps, absolutely. The teams that have these kind of pseudo caps where it says that, hey, we've got a salary cap, but if you want to go over it, you can just pay more money to the league to go over the salary cap. There's again different elements at play there, and it makes the argument different based on the sport that you're looking at there for sure.
Yeah. Hey, at the end of the day, get your bag. Get your bag. Like, I put it like this. If your first offer is $100K, don't take your first offer. Wait, just imagine what your next 2, 3, 4, 5 offers are going to be. Go after that $1 million deal. Go after that couple $1 million deal. Don't settle.
Right. You do you, boo boo, I think is the way that I sum that up.
Exactly. Like when people get upset at these types of these types of situations with players, it's like, well, would you turn down that money?
Right.
Lincoln Riley, would you turn down that that type of money?
Personally, I would, but my fandom would kick in there, right? Like that would be the deal there. But again, right, like I absolutely understand your point there that if you've risen to the pinnacle of your sport and the pinnacle of your profession, right? Like, and you want to be paid at the top, right? Like, and that's the primary motivation for you, go get it done.
Look,
right?
now I just came up with the topic. If your rival team hired you for like your dream job, your dream position, like would you do it? Like would you, if they were like if whether it was like as a player or a GM or an owner or something, like would you do it? Like they're about to pay you a whole lot of money.
Right.
You're still living your dream.
And at some point, you're right. You can certainly, sometimes those dollar bills speak louder than the fandom does. I can understand where you're going with that.
Like, hey, if the Cowboys were like, yo, we're going to give you, 10 mil to be our marketing manager. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, Washington.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I do think that that's going to take us down here to the end of it. Robbie, any final thoughts for the listeners and viewers out there?
Download the SportsMe app. Interact with everyone on the SportsMe app. Follow everyone. Everyone. Doesn't matter. Just follow them and make content with them. The SportsMe app is literally the dopest way to where you can interact and make content with your favorite content creators. Like versus you sitting in a live chat, the live chat is happening face to face. And I think that really just is really an amazing service. Like it's really like an amazing, like product, for sports fans to be able to have on your phone, to interact with. The fact that you can do that Whether it's athletes, your favorite personalities, etc. Anyone and everyone can get on. Just try it out. Just try it out. What does it hurt? What does it hurt for you to try it out? If you're nervous about posting, a video and showing your face, we have comments. You can post in the comments. You're also able to do that as well. But check it out. Go make some content. Have some fun. Talk some sports.
Absolutely. You could also go the route of, some of the wrestlers out there where, they have the masks and they have the get ups and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You could certainly do that. You could bring
Be
your
a character.
personality into it. You'd be a character, lots of fun, lots of different ways to interact and
play music,
and
show
participate.
plays and footage, do whatever.
Yeah, have some fun. Especially if you're watching this one and you go, man, I really want to tell Derek that he's wrong about whatever take that I just gave you on this show. Or same thing. If you want to tell Robbie that he's wrong, hop on there, tell us, create the battle and invite us over, and we'll certainly hop in those things and talk about it with you. So always a good time over on the SportsMe. If you haven't downloaded it, you are missing out, and you certainly don't want to miss out on something like this. Lots of fun. But I do think that that's going to call it a day for us. He's Robbie. I'm Derek. We're here for SportsMe. You have a good one. Be safe.